Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show on this 24th, Wednesday, 24th of August, 2022. Thank you for tuning in. Glad to have you guys here. We got a very, very serious subject here. Around the world right now, we're having crop failures on a massive scale. And what this is going to yield is not going to happen this year. It's going to be in 2023. Let's get started. We're going to open up the charts. Give me a second here. I'm going to open up the charts right here. Take a look at what's going on. Just have to read these articles. I just put into Google, I said crop failure, and we're getting massive crop failures suspected in England as farmers demand hose pipe bans. Another one, China issues alert as drought and heat wave put crops at risk. Crop losses would also hit supply chain. The Yangtze River, I can't believe it. They're saying the Yangtze River is drying up. And in Europe, look at this article here. European crop yields collapse amid the worst drought in 500 years. 500 years it's been since crops have collapsed like this. And then, we got these, I don't know what you'd call these people out there who are saying that the farmers can't use fertilizer when we're having these massive crop failures. The farmers have already told us, hey, we can't use fertilizers or the fertilizers we're used to using, things like potash. We're going to have 30 to 40% less crop. And then you get a drought on top of that. You're going to have only a crop that's less than half what you're used to having. This next year, you got to watch out for what's coming next year. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be really bad. It says water scarcity. Crop failure warning as ban comes into force. Farmers have warned of complete failure of some crops as ban on taking river water has come into force. Evidently, this is from the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, about the Scottish environment. Let's just go there real quick. So, just give me a second here. It says farmers have warned of complete failure of some crops. Scottish Environment Protection Agency. So that's in Scotland. It comes as Scotland faces a yellow weather warning for thunderstorms on Sunday and Monday. Okay, what else do we got here? We got, it's all over the earth, Crops yield uncertainty looms as harvest approaches. And we're talking here about Oklahoma, half a world away from Scotland. When does dry become drought? Lack of rain here. UK drought, as farmers are facing crop failures in all of 1976 all over again. Evidently, they had crop failures in 1976 in the United Kingdom. Now, here's the thing. The Yangtze River in China is going dry. I just can't help but note, about a year ago, and I reported this on my channel, before any of these droughts hit, before any of these problems hit, I noticed that China stockpiled a massive amount of food away. In fact, I think the article said they bought nearly half of global food production for a year. They bought it, they purchased it, and they put it away for themselves. I find that very interesting because then all of a sudden this year, now we're getting this massive drought. And there's going to be a lack of food coming in 2023. And looks like in 2021, China put this massive amount of food away for themselves. Is that coincidence? I don't know. Maybe it is. Summer 2022 droughts. What can we do? It says here. Extreme heat and severe financial distresses caused by the Great Depression, among other factors. Possible total crop failure. This is News in Kitchener. Is that Kitchener, Ontario? I believe. Let me just take a look here. Yes, it's Kitchener, Ontario. It says possible total crop failure, dry conditions devastating Ontario's sweet corn farmers. Dry weather conditions across southern Ontario are wreaking havoc on some farmers. Now, I remember driving on a bicycle when I was a young guy through this exact spot here. And I'm going to tell you, there is grain fields as far as the eye can see there. I was driving down a small road on a bicycle when I was about 14 years old, and there are corn crops and wheat crops as far as the eye could see. So do not underestimate the amount of grain that Canada can produce. But look what it says here. It says a possible total crop failure due to dry conditions devastating Ontario's sweet corn farmers. Dry weather conditions across southern Ontario are wreaking havoc on some farmers' ability to produce sweet corn this season. Early and mid-season sweet corn, I think we're looking at roughly possibly a total crop failure. Now see, this is going to carry on into next year. It might actually, in certain countries on Earth, it could be total crop failure, total starvation in certain countries. Now, does that mean that we're going to starve here? Probably not. But, and this is a big but, and you know I always hate it when somebody says but. I hate when people say but I'm saying but. We could see food prices go to levels, we could see double in price from what we're paying now, or even triple in price from what we're paying now for food. This is going to have a trickle-down effect on people because they have a certain amount of money that they have allocated for their food budget every month. And most people are just making ends meet. They get paid the first of the month, and by the end of the month, they got nothing left. Now, if you double the amount of money that they're going to have to pay for food, suddenly they can't pay for rent. So, what I want to say is across the United States right now, there's 20 million people who are not paying their electricity bills. 20 million defunct. The payments are not coming into the electrical companies for 20 million people, and the electrical companies now are starting to have to go out and turn people's power off. That's now. So what's going to happen in 2023 when food prices go up double what they are now? They ain't going to be able to even pay their rent, and it's going to increase from maybe 20 million to 40 million people who aren't paying their electrical bill. What's the government's answer to all this? Well, they're just going to print more money, ultimately. This is where we're going with all this in the end, And actually, they don't even print it anymore. I can see them pushing out, as their answer, a central bank digital currency. And just basically giving everybody a little card in the mail, a little plastic card that'll come right from the Fed, and they'll put money on your card every month so that you can pay some of these bills like your electrical bill. But what's that going to do? Whenever the government tries to fix anything, like wage and price controls never work. Whenever the government tries to fix anything, they actually ruin it. And so if they create a central bank digital currency and they just basically send everybody out a card, a plastic card, and they put money on it every month from you directly from the Federal Reserve, that means, first off, to make that money work, they're going to have to get rid of cash on the other side of that coin. Well, the system ain't going to work. And the second thing it's going to do is it's going to make your dollars practically valueless overnight and what they can purchase. Not really overnight, but it might take a year or two, but you're going to see the inflation rate increase probably initially up to about 25%. And then later it'll go to 50%, then 100% per year, and then it'll go to 100% per month. I'm talking about serious inflation, borderline hyperinflation, and then finally hyperinflation caused by a central bank digital currency. But it also, at the same time, does it not only destroy the purchasing power of your dollars in a very rapid way, but it's going to make it so that they can see every transaction you make, and they can also control where you're making your transactions. So I could see that this could cause a black market to form very quickly as well, because people don't like it's the same thing that happened during Prohibition in the United States back when they tried to stop the can you believe that they actually had the, I almost said a word that started with B, but they actually had the audacity to make all alcohol consumption illegal in the United States of America. And it was called Prohibition. Now, of course, it didn't work. Of course, people would snuck out from underneath it, and they formed something called speakeasies, or places and clubs where they could go and they could drink. You know, and this is what made gangsters, made them rich, big names like Al Capone, from this. Well, they're going to do the same thing with money. If you can imagine that they try, this is like a prohibition on money. It's like money is what they say it is, and it's like they're going to have total control over everything you purchase, and they can turn you off, turn your money off. Of course, people are going to try to get around such a thing. It's because it's absolutely insane. But the people in charge nowadays are somewhat, I'm going to say, if they lost their minds, yeah, I think so. They've lost their minds with corruption, greed, and all the negative aspects of the human condition. You know, like the seven evil. I think there was there seven. Like I remember a comic book called Shazam. You know, and it talked about the seven evil qualities. I think it was seven evil qualities of humans. The greed and you know. Anyway, I could go in there and look at the list anyway. But anyway, I'm sidetracking on what I'm trying to say here. Is we're in big trouble. And this big trouble is probably going to give them the impetus to put in their central bank digital currencies. Because next year, I think there's going to be starvation in the world. And this is a horrible thing. And it's for the people who do starve, it's a horrible way to die. But at the same time, I don't think we're going to starve here in North America, but we could see food prices double and double again. And where are the people going to get the money from that? Well, the government's going to have to see. One thing leads to another. It's like the old fable of the lady who swallowed the fly, and then she had to swallow a spider, and then she had to swallow something else to get the spider. Then later she had to swallow a mouse, and then she had to swallow a cat to get the mouse, and on and on and on it went. That's the way with this. One thing leads to another. So first you got this drought, and the drought leads to crop failures, and the crop failures lead. You get my point. And it just makes an entire mess in the end. It gets to a certain point in the end where we're not functioning properly as a society. Hard times. And you never forget that the Fed created hard times in the 1930s for the world. They had their foot right in the door doing it. Now they're doing it again to us. And when are we ever going to learn? Thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe. And we'll catch you guys in the very next episode. You guys have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.